if there are no further questions, we have Amy Pope waiting for us online. So if you agree, let's try to bring her on the screen. Very good. Hi. Very good. Can we hear you? Let's just do a quick test to see if we can hear you in the room.
Sure thing. This is Amy Pope. Can you hear me there?
We can hear you with a little bit of an echo. Let's see. We're going to be fine. Okay. Very good. Well, so we're very glad to have for the first time today with us Amy Pope, the Director General of the International Organization for Migration. She was in Haiti earlier this week. So thank you so much for being with us. And, without further ado, I give you the floor. Go ahead, and we'll take questions afterwards.
Thank you so much. First of all, I just want to say thanks to all of you for your attention to this issue. And I know that the issue of Haiti is competing with so many humanitarian crises all over the world. And we see it firsthand because we're operating on the ground firsthand. But Haiti is one that unfortunately has not received the level of attention or funding that is so desperately needed at this moment in time. I had the chance to visit earlier this week. And the first thing that struck me is how complicated, how complex, how dire the humanitarian situation is on the ground. Just as the first matter, it is incredibly difficult to get to the people who are most in need. The capital city of Haiti, Port-au-Prince, is 85% occupied by gangs. It is impossible for people to go in and out of the capital city safely by road. Even for the humanitarian workers and the diplomats who work in the capital, they have to go into Cap Haitian and then take a helicopter. Helicopter doesn't always work regularly and is not able to travel predictably. So even getting humanitarian aid and access to the people in need is extremely difficult. But the situation has become much, much worse in recent months. There are now 1 million people who've been displaced. I had the chance to see some of the humanitarian sites, the sites for the displaced people in the capital, and you just see thousands of people who are stacked one on top of the other in very, very tight quarters with very little access to the most basic services. Latrines are often not functional. There's very little in the way of hygiene, almost nothing in the way of protection, particularly for women and girls. The number of children on the sites is quite high. Who have no access to any kind of formal education, very little access even to informal education. So children are really just sitting around. Food insecurity is very high. And many people have been displaced multiple times as the gang violence is moving and around the city, and more people get pushed out because it's just not safe. So for us, it's, we continue to deliver. Like every other UN agency, we are navigating a complex situation, not just of access, but also financing. Of course, the United States government is and has been the major funder there. Many of our partners have lost funding altogether. So the international NGOs and local NGOs are simply unable to work at the same scale they had been working before. And of course, they were not able to meet all of the humanitarian needs that existed even before these most recent funding cuts. The question, I think, on the table for all of us is just a recognition that what's happening in Haiti is not going to stay in Haiti, and how do we create a system when there's more stability, where there's more security, when there's more hope for the Haitian people. Of course, as the head of the International Organization for Migration, we do see the number of Haitians who are leaving, who want to leave. It continues to be a pressure. And of course, many countries are returning Haitians to the country into a situation where the infrastructure is simply not well equipped to deal with the returns. Now, our first plea, of course, is for security, for stability, to make sure that member states don't lose sight of the importance of peace and security there. The multinational security support for Haiti, the MSS team there, is still not at capacity. There are about 1,000 security representatives there, mostly from Kenya, but the original pledge had been for 2,500. This is a country where there are over 500,000 guns, estimates show. So there's a real question of whether, even if it's at 2,500, if that's sufficient. But without stability, without security, it's difficult to get humanitarian aid to people who need it. The second, of course, is the importance of the Haitian government itself continuing to be able to function, to provide support for their people, to assure some level of law and order for their communities, and to chart a path forward. And then a third, of course, is the funding that's so desperately needed, without which we will be unable not only to support the people who are there in Haiti, but those who are being returned from other countries because they don't have status where they have been. So I'm very happy to take any questions, but our primary goal, my primary purpose in speaking to you all today is that we, of course, have just commemorated the anniversary, the second anniversary of what's happening in Sudan. We often refer to Sudan as the forgotten crisis. If Sudan is the forgotten crisis, I'm not sure where we put Haiti, because it doesn't even come up in conversation, and the situation there is as dire as anything I've ever seen anywhere in the world. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you so much. Let me go to Edie Lederer.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pope, on behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association for doing this briefing. My name is Edith Lederer from the Associated Press. A couple of follow-up questions. Did you meet with members of the Kenyan force? Did you actually get anywhere near any of the gangs? Did they stay away from you? And you said that 2,500 international police might not be enough. Any idea of a number that might be enough? And excuse me. And a final question. You talked about Haitians returning. In the United States, the Trump administration has talked about returning Haitians. What kind of an impact would that have, because there are so many here in this country? Thank you.
Should I respond one by one? Is that the best way, or do I take a series of questions?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? No.
Yes, we can hear you. Sorry, my microphone was not on. Yes, you can take questions one by one. Go ahead.
Okay, so we did not have the chance to meet with any members of the multinational security support. I had the opportunity to speak with some of the ministers and members of the Transitional Council, also to meet with some of local actors, communities we work with, and of course the displaced communities themselves. There's no doubt that we were in touch with gang members because, of course, Port-au-Prince is dominated by gangs. 85% of the territory is controlled by gangs. Interestingly, the IOM office is right on the edge. The American Embassy, the IOM office are very close to one another and right on the edge of gang-controlled area. We ourselves have had staff who've been kidnapped, staff who have had to be evacuated, and otherwise been significantly impacted by the situation there, including having to be relocated into the country. Estimating what is the proper size of the force is not something that I'm qualified to do. I will say, though, there is significant concern expressed by all the partners I spoke to, that the 1,000 who are there is simply not enough. And the fact that the gangs have continued to take territory, even including outside of the capital, encroaching into other parts of Haiti, is a very, very significant concern. And makes the situation, the possibility of creating some level of law and order, even more difficult. In terms of the returns, now it's important to note that there are already countries that have been returning Haitians for some amount of time, most notably the Dominican Republic across the land border. In fact, last year, about 200,000 Haitians were returned. And IOM is providing support to many of the communities who come home. Unfortunately, it's often just the most basic humanitarian life-saving support, things like blankets or hygiene kits. We work with our partners at WFP to make sure that people have enough food. But the fact is, if communities are from the capital, it's nearly impossible to go back. Logistically, the roads are not open. The safety is so far from being assured. It's just not safe. So it's a real question of where people can be relocated, or where they can safely go within the country. And I think that's the biggest challenge for all of us, is if people are going home, ensuring that they don't become targets of the gang violence, and have a safe place to stay. Otherwise, as we all know, people who cannot find safety will often look to remigrate.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Do we have other questions? Yes, Stefano.
Thank you. This is Stefano Vaccara, La Voce di New York Ital Press. You were nominated when Biden was still president, and so you didn't have a problem of budget. Instead, now you're having with Trump's cut. So my question is the one that I asked before about the Secretary General. What are you doing, or what did you try to do, and what you will try to do to establish a kind of I don't know, deal with the Trump administration? Because from what I understand, the budget, 40% of your budget before Trump arrived accounted from the United States. So for your organization to operate needs the support of the United States. What you're going to do, and if you had any contact, directly contacted with the US administration?
So the United States has been a founding member of IOM and has been a key partner for our work all over the world. And as you noted, was the biggest funder of our operations over the last several years. But to say that they're the only funder is wrong. And actually, we have quite a lot of support from many different member states, as well as from the private sector and the international development banks. Unfortunately, we're highly projectized, which means that when the money for particular projects is no longer available, we have to stop work. And so that really is what this comes down to, ensuring that we are able to provide support to those who are most in need at a moment in time when resources across the board, and not just from the United States, are dwindling. So we have made a series of changes within our organization, including by unfortunately letting quite a lot of staff go, but also by streamlining our headquarters. We moved very, very fast to do that. We moved very fast to localize staff closer to where our operational capacity is ongoing. And we have made a number of tough decisions to make sure that we're really focused on core IOM activities, and leaving to our other UN partners the work that they do best.
Dulcie?
Hi. Thanks very much. I'm Dulcie Lineback from Pass Blue. I'm sorry I missed your introductory remarks. Did you say, were you specific about the cuts by the U.S. to IOM?
In Haiti or globally?
In Haiti.
In Haiti, no, I haven't spoken specifically about the cuts there.
And you?
The cuts there.
Okay, can you give us some numbers, please?
Yeah, I don't have the exact numbers with me right now. I'd say, like every other organization, there was an initial suspension, a stop work order of all of our work, including in Haiti. Since that stop work order, about 70% of the work has now resumed. There is a key question, given the United States revised foreign policy, what funding will continue at the end of these existing contracts. And we, like our other UN partners, are waiting to see the direction that the United States government will decide to go.
Okay, so you said IOM got a full stop work order, right? That's what you said?
We had an initial stop work order, then about 70% of the funding was resumed, and the work is now continuing for the majority of the projects that have been funded by the American government.
So you're talking about IOM projects?
Specifically, yeah.
Okay, so now in Haiti, you're operating at 70% of your former budget?
Yes.
Okay, so what's been cut in the Haiti operations?
So it's interesting. Some of the work that has been cut has been the reintegration and the return support for Haitians who have been returned from the United States. So it's an open question whether, if in light of the United States ending temporary protected status and increasing the number of returns, whether that will be revisited. But we don't yet have an indication of the direction that they'll decide to go.
Thank you. Do we have some questions online? And, 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 I guess not. And if there are no more questions in the room, Ms. Pope, thank you so much for joining us. Please come back anytime. You're always welcome. And thank you so much for the briefing today. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.